Welcome to the next in our series of videos covering the free characters available in Genshin Impact, their constellations, and their utility in battle. This video will cover Noelle, the maid of the Knights of Favonius. She may not be an official knight, but she's constantly pushing herself to prove her worth. Unlike the other characters we've mentioned, Noelle isn't a free character per se, but she is given 100% guarantee for acquisition. When players are introduced to the wishing system, they will be given the option to spend 8 wishes on a discounted starter banner, at which point they will acquire Noelle. Because of the method for which she can be obtained, Noelle is always available, but entirely skippable. This guide will assume that you did not skip out on the guaranteed Noelle from the starter banner and wish to utilize her within your team. Aside from the Traveler, Noelle is Genshin's very first Geo character, and she is also the first character capable of creating a shield without the need for constellations or reactions. Noelle's abilities allow her to fulfill one of 3 roles. The role you pick tends to determine a different build setup as well as different talent priority considerations. In addition to this, some of Noelle's different roles may feel limited at first, but become more viable as you unlock constellations. Fulfilling the tank role, Noelle's elemental skill creates a shield that provides a small amount of bonus protection against every elemental and physical source of damage. If shield power is all you care about, then this is the only talent you'll need. The best part about Noelle's shield is that she prefers the use of the defense stat, meaning that artifacts with that main stat can easily be given to her. At the very start of the game, Noelle can also utilize the 2-piece effect of the Lucky Dog set to increase her defense by another 100. With time, you can graduate to or combine the Lucky Dog set with 2 pieces of the Defender's Will set, which grants a 30% bonus to defense. In early game, Noelle's shield can come in handy. The downside is that her shield only has 50% uptime. You could potentially solve this by using the Sacrificial Greatsword. At full refinement, it gives an 80% chance to reset the cooldown of an elemental skill whenever it damages an enemy. The good news is, Noelle's skill doesn't just create a shield, it also deals damage to any enemy she's standing next to. Just make sure to get in close before casting it. There's still a chance that it won't work, but more often than not, it will, and that can provide for you a small safety net just in case you find yourself in need of another shield cast. Noelle's passives also try to work around her long skill cooldown. The most immediate example is Devotion. This passive is granted with Noelle's first ascension, and it provides a personal shield for the active character when their health drops below 30%. This shield will also scale with defense and is stronger than any shield she can naturally create with her skill. So if an enemy catches you by surprise, this can help you buy some time, especially if Noelle's shield is on cooldown. If you're just starting out, it's likely you won't have Barbara. The good news is that Noelle can act as a healer too. As a healer, Noelle is highly dependent on the casting of her shield, as well as taking up field time in order to attack. While shielded, each of Noelle's attacks have a chance to heal her allies in the team. The most effective way to ensure quick healing to your party is to make use of Noelle's charged attack, which executes multiple spinning hits. If you've unlocked the passive from Noelle's 4th ascension, Nice and Clean will reduce the cooldown of her elemental skill with every 4th hit of her normal or charged attacks. This usually allows Noelle's period of healing to benefit the party with quicker access to her shield after she swaps out. Noelle's healing consistency is improved whenever you acquire her first constellation, I Got Your Back. When Noelle's shield is active, when she activates her elemental burst, her chance to heal per hit changes to 100%. To improve Noelle's ability to heal, you can replace the defense circlet with a healing bonus one. As for set bonuses, you can further improve her healing with 4 pieces of the Maiden Beloved. The 2 pieces improves healing bonus by 15%, and the 4 piece improves the incoming healing of your party by 20%. Unlike Barbara though, who genuinely improves in every aspect with the 4-piece effect as opposed to a hybrid mix set, Noelle's role as both a healer and a tank means a hybrid build can be beneficial to those who don't want to sacrifice one for the other and prefer to build her with both in mind. At Adventure Rank 30, when farming for either the Maiden's Beloved or Defender's Will becomes a more manageable task, you can also be capable of advancing the story to Inazuma. If at this point you have just acquired Noelle or decide to put Noelle back into your team and need a build for her, the most resin efficient domain that you can focus on Noelle specifically while attempting to obtain a hybrid build is located on Sarai Island, and it contains both the Husk of Opulent Dreams, which provides a 30% defense bonus, and the Ocean-Hued Clam set, which provides a 15% healing bonus. Otherwise, you may need to just look for Noelle's artifact pieces while you're farming for your Pyro, Hydro, or Anemo characters. If you're also looking for more consistency with Noelle's burst to improve your healing with Noelle's first constellation, you may have noticed that, like Barbara, Noelle cannot generate her own elemental particles and must rely on her team to funnel energy to her. This is far easier to do when Noelle isn't the only Geo character in your party. The Traveler actually generates quite a few particles with her elemental skill. You can also make use of the Favonius Greatsword and hope that Noelle can land a critical hit to gain more energy that way. An even better fix that also must wait for Inazuma is the Katsura Gekiri Nagamase. The energy recharge improves the energy she gains from teammates, and while hitting an enemy with her elemental skill may cause Noelle to lose a small amount of energy at first, it passively grants her flat energy over time. Assuming Noelle's shield can prevent damage for a while, you can save her burst and healing for absolute emergencies. Another option is to replace her defense % sands with energy recharge and give her a greatsword with a defense % substat. Options are the White Iron Greatsword, a weapon you can find in chests around Mondstadt, or the craftable White Blind. If you use the White Blind, you will have to remember that to get the most out of it, you'll need to obtain 4 stacks from its passive before activating your burst or your shield. This is because both her burst and her shield carry her stats at cast and won't benefit from any newly acquired ones from her sword stacks. So aside from providing 100% healing consistency at Constellation 1, Noelle's burst converts all her tankiness into offensive power. That's right, at cast, Noelle's burst performs a large AoE attack and then buffs her attack with a portion of her defense and converts all her damage into Geo. If you want your Noelle to serve a role as a sub-DPS damage dealer, then you'll need to invest in both her burst and basic attack talent. Obviously, you want the buff from her burst, but Noelle's basic attack talents carry more weight in the long run. My suggestion is to push them both equally until you're talent level 6 and then prioritize her basic talents first. It's not necessarily needed, but once you have unlocked Noelle's 6th constellation, the buff from her burst rises dramatically, effectively enabling Noelle to use most of her defense stat to improve her offense. And with your new Mighty Attack stat, Noelle's 6th constellation further improves the potency of her 4th one. When Noelle's shield expires, refreshes, or breaks, it deals AoE geo damage that scales with her attack. On its own, this constellation is nice because it provides added damage, but under the attack buff provided by Noelle's burst, it becomes even stronger and is a very desirable burst of damage for DPS Noelle. For DPS Noelle, your build will comprise of a Geo Goblet and a Crit Circlet. Ideally, you'll want a defense % sands and load her down with energy substats. Again, DPS Noelle being locked behind her burst means your best bet is to put her in Geo teams, and the more focused you are on her being the main DPS, the more energy she's going to need. All the same weapons from before apply, but DPS options will also include weapons such as the Battle Pass Serpent Spine, which improves crit rate and all sources of bonus damage. It's heavily dependent on not taking damage, but since Noelle has a shield, the downside of this weapon can usually be avoided. Plus, stacks stay built up even if she's not active on the field. There is the Blackcliff Greatsword, which increases crit damage and provides an attack bonus upon defeating enemies. You will see an increase in power as you use it, but only when used against groups of enemies. If you have it, you can also give Noelle the Redhorn Stone Thresher. It has lower base attack values than the other 5-star weapons, but it has a massive crit damage substat, its passive increases defense, and it provides bonus damage to your normal and charged attacks based on a portion of your defense. This weapon is great on defense scaling characters, even better if that character can fully invest in a defense stat that converts into attack, and Noelle fits the bill. If you want to make the most of Noelle's damage, you can utilize the spin to win strategy with her 2nd constellation, which reduces stamina consumption of her charged attack, as well as improving its bonus damage. As for DPS bonus sets, the Opulent Dream set is still your go-to, but instead of settling for just the 2-piece effect, you'll want to push for 4 pieces, which will further improve your defense and geo damage bonus. Whenever striking with geo damage or staying in your party reserves, you'll gain a stack of curiosity. At maximum stacks, Noelle will gain an additional 24% of defense and geo damage. For optimized play, be sure to have all 4 stacks before activating her burst. Any stacks gained afterwards won't count towards her defense conversion. Now, if you find it difficult to acquire a 4-piece set and you're okay with making do with a hybrid set, you can opt for 2 pieces of the Archaic Petra set if you have any lying around or plan to run that domain for your other Geo characters. Better yet, you can even use the Strongbox feature within the game to re-roll some of your 5-star artifacts to get you those pieces to tide you over until you can make the full upgrade. Believe me, it is worth it. If you don't feel like farming a whole new domain for pieces and have already farmed a lot for your other Geo characters, the retracing bolide pieces you may have received can actually construct a pretty good full set for Noelle too. It improves normal and charged attacks as long as the wearer is protected by a shield. At lower adventure ranks, should you choose the DPS route, you can use the 4-piece Sojourners to improve charged attack crit rate, or the 4-piece Martial Artist set. You can even combine 2 pieces of Martial Artist with 2 pieces of Defender's Will if you prefer. As you can see, Noelle's a fairly flexible character. She can fulfill any of the 3 roles that you want, provided you invest in her, but the level of investment largely depends on which of the roles you give her. However, if you really love Noelle, I'm sure you'll find that effort very rewarding when you find the playstyle for you. So that will do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one, so until then, stay tuned.